There are many logical and emotional reasons for owning a home. I'll unpack those and some financial reasons for buying a home today on Realty Talk. The first one, when paying a mortgage each year, the U.S. tax code allows you to deduct the interest you pay on the mortgage, your property taxes, and some of the costs involved with buying a home. That's a subject to talk to your tax advisor about though. Number two is appreciation. Historically, home values have increased year over year with few exceptions. Sure, there are market fluctuations like we're seeing now, but in fact there have only been 2 housing market corrections in the last century. Yeah, that's right, 100 years and only 2 major corrections. The most notable was in 1929 with a crash of Wall Street leading to the Great Depression. As a result of the crash, prices fell up to 67%, property values plummeted, and bank lending decreased as well. In the early 2000s, the U.S. was going through a housing bubble where the rate of mortgage fraud skyrocketed and the country entered into recession. Then in 2007, real estate completely crashed with hundreds of thousands of homes going into foreclosure, and the market continued to slow down with home sales being affected the most, leading to the notorious 2008 real estate market we still talk about today. To recap, the 2 major market corrections in recent history are the Great Crash of 1929 and the 2008 housing market. I don't know about you, but I've only been around for one of those corrections. However, those 2 markets are not the market we're in now. Sure, we're seeing inflation now like we haven't seen for many years, and we've also been watching mortgage interest rates become a bit volatile recently. I see reports every week from lenders who are watching the rates closely now that a small rise or drop can make a big difference in affordability for borrowers. Some buyers have become pessimistic and they're waiting for housing prices to go down or even for the market to crash again. They may be disappointed years from now when they find out that housing prices have steadily climbed while they're waiting and because they missed out on appreciation of an investment they decided not to make. Buying a house with appreciation in mind can be a long-term play, even though some people had really lucky timing over the last several years when appreciation was wildly unusual. They were lucky because they bought and sold their home in the window of time that real estate was going up drastically year over year, and they sold after housing prices dramatically increased between the time they purchased and the few years later when they sold. The way I see it is this law of supply and demand is still alive and well in the housing market. When there's a scarcity or a shortage of something and the demand is high, that high demand causes prices to go up, not down. Well, we've had a housing shortage for over a decade, and there's no short-term projections that say that supply will catch up with demand. The trend of appreciation of real estate will continue for the foreseeable future, although we have seen some pricing dips and slowing down of sales, with houses staying on the market longer than we've recently been accustomed to, and less competition with multiple buyers. So if you want to own a home, even though rates are a bit higher, buying now still makes sense. When you take a slightly cooler market fueled by pessimism and less buyer competition, meaning less demand, we see more and more homes being purchased at or very near the list price, instead of the frantic auction effect we saw so much of over recent years, and in some cases buyers have even been able to find a deal or get seller concessions. If you're interested in learning more about seller concession, just text me for an explanation. Even with higher mortgage rates, which you may be able to refinance to a lower rate later, if you need a home, it's a good time to buy, and if you can grab a home for a fair price, you can begin seeing the effect of appreciation over time. When you think of appreciation, think in terms of savings and think security. Now that you're thinking from the perspective of savings, let's add to that with the next reason. Number 3, equity. A simple definition of equity is the property's current market value minus what's owed to the bank or other lien holders, which must be paid off in order to sell the property. This happens each time you sell your property when the new buyer gets their own loan and their funds pay off your loan obligation, and what's left is your equity. If you've been paying on a mortgage for a while, you've likely made some principal payments on your home, and that means the bank owns less and you own more since you've been paying down the debt. You now have an increase in equity, so take that plus the appreciation we just heard about, and we've grown our wealth by investing in a home. You can't do this when making a rent payment. The owner of the property you're paying rent to will receive equity and the appreciation. Now for the next reason. Reason 4, savings. The equity gained by ownership is like a built-in savings plan. The gains can be taken with you when you sell your home, and you can use that equity as a down payment on your next home if you choose. Number 5 is predictability. Unlike rent, which often goes up each time a new lease is signed, a fixed rate mortgage is just as the name implies. It's fixed, so you can predict what your monthly housing expenses will be. And then there's the 6th, and probably the best reason ever, freedom. It's your house and you can decorate it any way you want, whether it's painting a room or turning a bedroom into an office or a playroom. What you do inside your home and how you use it is your business, and you don't have to ask anyone's permission. And the last reason is number 7, stability. Remaining in the same neighborhood for many years gives a family time and the option to grow long-lasting relationships within the community. It can also offer school-age children the benefit of continuity in education and social life with peers. When we look at these 7 reasons alone, I believe it's easy to see the benefits of home ownership, both emotionally and logically. I'd love to hear what questions you have or suggestions about a topic you'd like me to cover, so please leave them in the comments section below or text me directly now. If you'd like me to personally help you, I'd be honored. Just reach out to me to begin the conversation and we can get started right away.